The next question I think is just good as young people even are just struggling with the hard things in their life, you know,
hmm
and are trying to make sense of it and trying to figure out, okay, who they are. How do I like take these hard things and, like you said, know that it's going to be all right and move through them and stuff like that. But this student asked, how do you let bad things make you and not break you? How do
Yeah,
you let
it's a
those
great
things?
question.
And I think, like, honestly, Jordan, as I'm even thinking about this, I feel like one of those, like, we could answer it in two ways of, like, one
hmm
for the kid who is already following Jesus.
Yeah.
And then they just, like, keep hitting this brick wall and they're like, why do these crazy things keep happening to me? Why is there tragedy always around me? Like, why are these bad things still happening? How do you let those things, the hard things, if you're a follower of Jesus already, make you and not break you? But then what would you say to the kid that is trying to still figure out faith and religion and God and all that stuff? And they're like, life is really hard. Like, what do I do? What do I do?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think both of them actually need the same answer.
Okay, great.
And so I'll start with like the more clinical side of things. I think
Yeah.
one of the parts of the process of making sure that bad things, because they happen to all of us, don't break you, but make you, is grief. And so we have to be willing and know how to go through the grief process. And I think for a lot of us, we just kind of we just grit down and we just try and push through the feelings, push through the pain, push through the difficulty, maybe even pretend like it's not there. And all we're doing is shoving it down. And at some point, the lid's going to blow off that thing. And I think oftentimes that's why the lid blows off that thing for our young people in ways that they often regret, in ways that might change their life forever. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Because grief
Just
can
in
show up in
anger,
grief can show
open
up in
anger.
anger, but
Yeah.
it also can show up in promiscuity. It can show up
Mhm.
in what we eat. It can show up in self-harm. It can show up in all different types of ways, right?
Or
And we can
like
make
indifference, like just not caring.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
just
Like
showing up
literally
to
just
school as
giving up on life,
nothing.
right? I'm not going
Yes.
to go school. I'm not
Yep.
going to do my work. And
Yep.
so those are things that have like lasting ramifications, right? And the reality is we all know young people who've made permanent decisions, right? As a consequence of not processing what's happening or what's happened in their lives. And so the stage of grief is denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, right? So denial is denying that the thing has even happened, which I think it's important to say this is normal, by the way. Like, this isn't, if you're going through this right now, what you're going through is normal. What you're going through is okay. It's okay for you to deny what happened. It's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to bargain. It's okay for you to bargain with God. It's okay for you to be depressed. And so it's okay for you to be angry. It's okay for you to finally get to the place where you accept what's actually happened. And yes, life is going to be different. No, it's not going to be the same. Something has changed. You've lost something, and that's okay. And in all of those stages, God can and will meet you, right? Which I think is an important part of this conversation, because oftentimes we talk about this idea, right, of suffering existing in our world. Why does it exist? Why does God allow it? Like, here's the reality. I can give you all the different theological explanations. There's a bunch of them. Truth is, I don't know. That's the truth. Okay. But here's what I do know. What I do know is that Christ is with me as I suffer. And what I see in the cross is a God who's willing to step into the mess of humanity and suffer with and love and make a way for things to be different internally now, right? So something changes in me now. So I can deal with suffering differently and be present with God. And then in the future sense, God will come and correct all things. And there'll be a day where there will be no more suffering. That longing that we all have for this, whatever is going on here in this world, to finally be fixed, will one day be fixed by Christ, right? And that's the hope that we live with. But while I go through difficult things now, my God is with me. And that actually gives me what I need to continue to go through what I go through and struggle and wrestle in this life, and then continue to point people to Christ and his kingdom. And here's what I would also say as well. If you're a young person that is going through something that is abusive, something that is traumatic, actively currently right now, please go tell somebody that can help you. Please.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Please. I don't think God's intent is for you to stay in an abusive, traumatic, neglectful situation where somebody is continuing to hurt you in ways that they shouldn't be, that you've been put in a system that's supposed to protect you and care for you. And if it's not protecting you and caring for you in the way it's supposed to, tell somebody who can help you. Yes. Tell a youth leader. Tell somebody, an adult that you have access to, that can do something about it. Please.
Yes.
Please.
Yes. I was going to say that too, whether, and we talk about that on this podcast, like, who are those people? Like, who should you look for? And we do talk about, like, someone at your church, a youth leader, a teacher that you know cares about you. Maybe it is a neighbor, like the little lady down the street who like knows your name and comes to your baseball games. Like talk to somebody who you know like cares about you and is able to help make a change, because that isn't like God. I think one of the crazy things is that like he uses all of the hard stuff that we go through.
Yes. God works all things for the good.
He will redeem it.
Yes.
He will redeem is just a fancy word for like, he'll take something hard and make it beautiful and worth something, make it valuable again. But that isn't, God also is not like forcing you into those situations and telling you to stay.
Yes.
He also like does not desire that for you. And he weeps when you're in those situations.
Yes.
And so to get yourself out and to take steps towards that is also like, yes, that is honoring to the Lord. And so
100%.
Yeah.
And I would say on the other side of that, like God is going to hold those accountable who have hurt you.
Yeah.
And they're going to be held accountable in two ways. Either one, they're going to put that on Christ and repent, or they're going to stand before God and give an account for the choices that they made and how they hurt people that God created.
Yes.
So none of this is going to go unaccounted for. None of this is going to go unjudged, so to speak. And so what you can do is give that to God, knowing that he is going to hold that person accountable, whether there are natural consequences now or supernatural consequences now. And there most certainly will be consequences later when they stand before the throne of God.
And, I was thinking even, I love that idea, Jordan, of also like looking at those stages of grief and realizing that like God is with us, that Jesus wants to meet us in all of those different stages. It's like, okay, no matter what process, even if I'm in denial, it's like, okay, like invite Jesus into that. Don't push him away.
100%.
But say like, okay, I know that Jesus like promises that he's with me in all things. And like, this is where I'm at right now. If you're in the anger stage and you just hate the world, invite Jesus into it.
Yep.
And he promises that he will walk with you in it.
Yeah. Even if you feel like you hate God right now, I'm going to go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
Invite him into it. God, I can't stand you right now.
Yeah.
We've all been there. I got stuff in my journal. Trust me.
Yep.
Right. And so,
yes,
like you said, invite God into it. And I think one of the very practical ways you do that is writing. Like, can you get a piece of paper and just write your thoughts and feelings? And can you write that having a conversation with God? And then on the flip side of that, like you said, for students who might be still trying to figure that out, one thing I like to advise or encourage people to do is something called a grief letter, which is basically you just walk through the process of talking about the thing that you lost or talking to the person that you lost and all the things that have changed now that they aren't here anymore.
Yeah.
And all that allows you to do is process, right? Just process the emotion, process what's happening now, process where you find yourself, and move yourself to a place where you can kind of gain perspective in the way that you need to. Because our brains actually can do that. They help us gain perspective from the things that have transpired as we get to that place of acceptance. And we can kind of move forward once again. Not that things are normal, not that things will ever be the same, but we can get to a place where we can actually make meaning out of what it is we've been through and make sense of it. And to your point, I think one of the cool things about what God does is he often takes those things. I mean, he takes the things that Satan meant for evil and uses them for good and uses them for the good of us and for others. I have found that some of the largest pain points in my life, the way that healing has come is by encouraging somebody else in those particular spaces and places. And then as a consequence, experiencing healing myself.
Yeah. It's so good. And I also just wanted to add, like, specifically for the student who I love that you said the answer is the same for both, because I think it is. If you are somebody who has not walked with Jesus before, if you don't really know what it's like to have a relationship with him, when you go through grief, invite him into it and just see what happens. Talk to God. Even if you're someone who's never talked to God before, start today and talk to him and tell him what you're thinking. Tell him what keeps you from him. Tell him whatever it is that you need to tell him, because I just believe I've seen so many times, like, God loves to show up in that and show himself to us in a real way.
When we're honest.
Yes. And so even if you have not walked with God before, start today. And even just say, like, I'm not even sure I believe in you, but this is what I'm feeling. And if you're real, will you meet me here?
It's good.
And see what God does. So yeah, it's such a ding to God, writing to the person who is gone or writing to the situation that hurt you. I was just telling someone last week, I was encouraging them to just write, because there is something about, like, our brain and our hand and, like, our thoughts and putting it in order, not just letting it all be this, like, jumbled mess in our head, but, like, putting it in order.
And it's writing specifically too. It's not like texting on your phone. It's the attachment to the pen. There's something that happens there for us as
Yes.
humans, it's a little bit different than other mediums.
Yes. Yeah. But I was telling the student, I was like, honestly, when you're done writing it, flush it down the toilet. Like for all I care, tear it up, flush it down the toilet. Like no one else needs to see it. If you're afraid
Nope.
of someone else seeing it, flush it down the toilet. Like,
Yep. 100%.
do whatever you need to do. But there's something really beautiful about like writing and getting that stuff out, getting what's in your head and in your heart out on paper. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Thanks for bringing that up. That's really, really
Yeah.
good.